Hello students, in today's video we will be seeing about the impact of British rule in India related to constitutional development. In the last few videos we have been continuously seeing the impact of British rule in different areas of India, like in the administration, in the judiciary, in the police system. All these areas we have been seeing the impact of British rule. So now today we will be seeing about the impact of British rule related to constitutional development. So here, along with British administration, problems grew in India. So now British administration is happening in India. Along with that, there were many problems which were continuously growing in India. Reformation in administration became necessary in order to alleviate the problems. In order to alleviate or in order to reduce these problems, some reformations became necessary in the administration. These reformations needed to be addressed to the demands of Indians. That is, Indians were facing problems, and these reformations needed to address the demands of Indians. What demands of Indians were there? These reformations needed to see that. Now British attempted to create different rules in the form of laws, and they tried to implement them. So during this confusion time, British attempted to create different rules. These rules were created in the form of laws, and they tried to implement them. And these laws later helped in the evolution of Indian Constitution. So along with British administration, there were many problems in India, and to reduce these problems, reformation in administration became necessary. These reformations needed to address the demands of Indians. So British attempted to create different rules in the form of laws, and they tried to implement them. These laws helped the evolution of Constitution of India later. Now let us see which are the laws implemented during the British rule or during the rule of East India Company. So here already it is said that the rules were implemented in the form of laws. So the first one is Regulating Act of 1773. Diwani rights was implemented in 1765. So in 1765 Diwani rights was implemented. Diwani rights was the rights given to East India Company to collect revenue and to decide some civil cases. So it was a right given to East India Company. They can collect revenue and they can decide some civil cases. That was Diwani rights. This rights was implemented in 1765. But what happened? The company officials misused these rights, and they started becoming more rich in a corrupt way. So they started misusing the rights given to them, and the company officials became rich in a corrupt way, through corruption, not through right method. Through corruption they started becoming more rich. So corruption started increasing, and Edmund Burke, who was a member of the British Parliament, he criticized the corruption in East India Company. So Edmund Burke, who was a member of the British Parliament, started criticizing the corruption which was happening in East India Company, because East India Company was given the Diwani rights, and this Diwani rights was misused by them. They misused it and they became rich in a corrupt way. So British Parliament member, that is Edmund Burke, he criticized the corruption happening in East India Company, and he used the term criminal tax for the tax payment received by British government from the company. Whatever tax payment British government was receiving from East India Company, for that tax Edmund Burke used the term criminal tax, because it was not the money which is collected in a right way. It was through corruption or through corrupt methods that East India Company was making money. From that money British government was taking tax. That is why Edmund Burke used the term criminal tax for the tax payment received by the British government from East India Company. And the government also remained silent to the fact of corruption. Edmund Burke criticized because the government was remaining silent to the fact of corruption. They were not trying to clear the fact, and they were just remaining silent. Many company officials started becoming super rich through this corruption. Many officials of East India Company started becoming super rich. It was in this background that the Regulating Act was implemented in 1773. So whatever we saw just now was the background in which the Regulating Act was implemented. So we will once more see the background. The Diwani rights was implemented in 1765. Because of this Diwani rights, the East India Company were given some rights to collect revenue and to decide some cases. But what happened? The company officials misused these rights and they became rich in a corrupt way. Corruption increased, and Edmund Burke, a member of British Parliament, criticized the corruption in East India Company. He used the term criminal tax for the tax payment received by British government from East India Company. The government also remained silent to the fact of corruption. Many company officials became super rich, and it was in this background that the Regulating Act was implemented in 1773. Now let us see what are the features of this act, main features of Regulating Act. The first one, before the implementation of the act, there were 3 presidencies under British rule. Before the implementation of Regulating Act, there were 3 presidencies under British rule. They were Bengal, Madras and Bombay Presidency. These 3 were independent administrative unit. But under Regulating Act, the Bengal Presidency gained control over the other 2 presidencies. So, under the first provision, the Bengal Presidency got complete control over the other 2, that is Bombay and Madras Presidency. So, before the implementation of this act, there were 3 presidencies, Bengal, Madras and Bombay. These 3 were independent, but after the Regulating Act, Bengal Presidency gained control over Bombay and Madras. So now Bombay and Madras were not independent, they were under the control of Bengal Presidency. The second feature, the Governor of Bengal became the Governor General of all 3 presidencies. See, now Bengal Presidency is having complete control over Bombay and Madras. So the Governor of Bengal also gained more power. Governor of Bengal became the Governor General of all these 3 presidencies. That is the second feature. The third feature, the Governor General was authorized to direct, exercise control and supervise the other 2 presidencies. So the Governor General was the Governor of Bengal. The Governor of Bengal was given the position of Governor General, and he was given the authority to exercise control and supervise the other 2 presidencies. That is, he can control and he can supervise Bombay and Madras presidencies. Next one, Bombay and Madras Presidency could not declare war on anyone. So till Regulating Act, Bengal, Bombay and Madras 3 were independent. But after Regulating Act, Bombay and Madras came under Bengal, and now they cannot even declare war on anyone. They could not enter into peace agreement with anyone without the approval of Governor General of Bengal and Board of Directors of the company. So if Bombay and Madras Presidency have to do anything like declaring war or entering peace agreement, they have to get approval from Governor General of Bengal and Board of Directors of the company. During emergencies, they were entitled to act independently. If there was an acute emergency situation, they were given the right to act independently. That was the fourth feature. The fifth one, Supreme Court of Judicature was established in Calcutta. Because now Bengal Presidency is having the complete control over the other 2, the Supreme Court of Judicature was established in Calcutta, and it consisted of Central Court with 1 Chief Justice and 3 ordinary judges. So Supreme Court of Judicature established in Calcutta. In this there was one Central Court, 1 Chief Justice and 3 ordinary judges. So this act was aimed at regulating the company affairs. It was aimed at regulating, or it was aimed at controlling the company affairs and its administration in India. So like the name suggests, it was a regulating act, or it was a controlling act of the company affairs and its administration, because the company was becoming more and more corrupt. The company officials were becoming super rich. So there needed to be some sort of a control related to the company affairs and its administration in India. So that is Regulating Act main features. The first feature was, before the implementation of the Regulating Act, there were three presidencies, that is Bombay, Madras and Bengal presidency. All these were independent administrative unit, but after the regulating act, Bengal presidency gained control over other two. The second one, Governor of Bengal became the Governor General of all these presidencies. Third one, Governor General was given the authority to control and supervise other two presidency. The fourth one, Bombay and Madras presidency could not declare war or could not enter into peace agreement without the approval of Governor General of Bengal and Board of Directors of the company. Only during emergency they were entitled to act independently. The fifth one, Supreme Court of Judicature established in Calcutta. It consisted of Central Court, one Chief Justice and three ordinary judges. And as the name suggests, this act was aimed at regulating the company affairs and its administration in India. Now the next act was the Pitt's India Act in 1784. There were many inconsistencies in the regulating act of 1773. That is, there were many shortcomings in the regulating act of, or something which was not clear in the regulating act of 1773. To rectify or to correct them and to outline the powers of East India Company and the British government clearly, this new act was implemented. Now, the British government wanted to clearly outline what all powers East India Company had, what all powers British government had. These powers had to be clearly outlined. So to do that, to rectify them and to outline the powers of East India Company and British, this new act was implemented. A new institution named Board of Controllers consisting of 6 commissioners was started. A new institution or a new group called as Board of Controllers, which consisted of 6 commissioners, was started, and this Board of Controllers replaced the Board of Directors. Before it was Board of Directors, now it was replaced by Board of Controllers, which consisted of 6 commissioners. This board, that is Board of Controllers, had the power to direct and control issues related to land tax, military and civil areas. So if there is any issues related to land tax, military and civil areas, this Board of Controllers have the power to direct and control the issues. The Act declared that is Pitt's India Act declared that Indians have attained their paramount power in the name of British Empire only, but not on their own. So see, the Pitt's India Act said that whatever power the Indians have attained, that is in the name of British Empire, but it is not on their own. It is not on their own that Indians have received or attained paramount power. Indians have received paramount power in the name of British Empire, and it was not on their own. So that was what is said in Pitt's India Act. So there were many inconsistencies or shortcomings in regulating act in 1773. To rectify them or to correct them and to outline the powers of East India Company clearly, British government made a new act, that is Pitt's India Act. A new institution named as Board of Controllers consisting of 6 commissioners was started. Board of Controllers replaced the Board of Directors, and this board has the power to direct and control issues related to land tax, military and civil areas. The Act declared that the Indians have attained their paramount power in the name of the British Empire only, but not on their own. The Act also curtailed the political rights of Indians. The Act also curtailed or restricted the political rights of Indians. It also declared that the areas under the possession of East India Company are the integral part of British Empire. So here British Empire had to correctly outline what all control they were having. So for that they declared that whichever areas are under possession of East India Company, they are a part of British Empire, and therefore Government of England is the ultimate ruler of India. So they wanted to focus on the point that Government of England was the ultimate ruler of India. So that was what was said in Pitt's India Act of 1784. So this also you can see as an impact of British rule on India. They affirmed the fact that Government of England is the ultimate ruler of India. So there were many inconsistencies in the Regulating Act of 1773. To correct them and to clearly outline the power of East India Company and British government, Pitt's India Act was implemented. According to that, a new board of controllers consisting of 6 commissioners were started, and the board of controllers replaced board of directors, and this board has the power to direct and control issues related to land tax, military and civil areas. And this act declared that Indians have attained their power in the name of British Empire only, but not on their own. And this act also curtailed the political rights of Indians. It declared that the areas under the possession of East India Company are integral part of British Empire, and therefore Government of England is the ultimate ruler of India. So I hope you have understood all the points related to Regulating Act and Pitt's India Act. The coming days I will be explaining about more acts, so please make each act thorough before going to the next, otherwise you will get more confused. So if you have liked the video, please subscribe to my channel and share it with your friends. I hope to see you soon in the next video. Thank you for watching.